Hello again. There have always been people in Britain who did not belong to the majority sexuality or religion or ethnicity. 50 years ago, though, homosexuals and Jews, to give two examples, felt a loyalty to their country which transcended these differences. Instead of demanding that they be recognised as different, they wished to be regarded as the same as everybody else when it came to Britishness. Their sexuality and religion were irrelevant, and they knew that being British was what mattered. Now, though, we have somehow created a situation where people wish to celebrate their differences and they wish to found their identities upon what separates them from the majority population, focusing upon what makes them different rather than subsuming those various identities in the greater identity of being British. At best, this is divisive and creates discord in society. At worst, it can lay the ground for civil war. For example, we now have a Home Secretary who has publicly declared that her religion is the most important thing in her life, more so than her nationality. We have groups of people who feel that being transsexual matters more to them than their country, and that they feel more affinity with foreigners with their sexuality than they do with ordinary people from their own country. We see people who have been encouraged to believe that being black is somehow an identity in itself, one which might transcend their nationality. We now have a Lord Chancellor, David Lammy, who says that he is West Indian rather than British. Wherever we look, we see groups and even entire communities who owe a greater allegiance to the other members of their special interest group than they do to other people, even if those people are also British. Hand in hand with the fragmentation of our society into various special interest groups who identify as being black, Muslim, homosexual, and so on, has come another trend. This is that those who are patriotic in the old sense, in that they identify primarily, first and foremost, as British or English, and feel that the national flag and national anthem are more important than any minor grouping along religious or ethnic lines, these people are explicitly denounced as being right wing. This is a strange development. What was until relatively recently seen as simple patriotism is now said to indicate a particular political viewpoint. In the 1970s, we had politicians like Dennis Healey, James Callaghan in the Labour Party, and Edward Heath and Enoch Powell in the Tories, who had all fought in the Second World War. Dennis Healey was beach master at Anzio, incidentally. All these men were former soldiers and fervently patriotic, devoted to the British flag and loyal to their country. They ranged from left-wing members of the Labour Party to right-wing Tories, but their political leanings had nothing to do with their devotion to Britain. These days, though, as I say, love of the national flag and devotion to the country, rather than to some ethnic or religious group, is seen as an infallible sign of being right-wing. I would like to see our country return to a state of affairs in which everybody felt that their first loyalty was to this country, rather than people saying that they are West Indians or Muslims or gay first and foremost, and treating patriotism as something either ridiculous or sinister and reactionary.